know that people come to Shabbat for different reasons, and we will feel them at different points throughout the service. The joy of a benot mitzvah and the joy of a wedding couple. People come for introspection during the Amidah, or uplift through music and song, or maybe new wisdom gained through a sermon or a reading, or maybe sorrow at Kaddish. Some people like to sit together with friends who we haven't seen in a while, and others, or maybe it's your first time here, just to sit alone outdoors, away from the sounds and screens of the work week. I hope we hit all of those emotions this evening, and I hope they fill this community. I also know that this Friday night feels different, and we must name that. Many of us are here to grieve and to shout and to cry over the decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. That rolls back 50 years of protection for reproductive rights. If you're here tonight and you don't feel that way, we of course welcome you for a Shabbat of reflection and comfort. But this Shabbat, so many of us are confused and angry and gutted. We stand with the generations of activists, so many in this community who fought for women's rights, and we mourn the loss of their work as the rights that they fought for were revoked today. We think of teenagers and little girls who will grow up in America less safe and less free. We pray for all vulnerable people, many of them young and poor, who will have the greatest burden placed on their backs. In the words of the Women's Rabbinic Network, today's decision denies pregnant people agency over their own bodies and some of the most important decisions that they will make in their lives. Our bodies and our spirits are reflections of the divine, and no one should be treated as less than that. Every person should have had the right to protect their divine reflection by accessing quality health care in a timely manner without judgment or harassment. Abortion is health care. Abortion access is a Jewish value. So as a community, we pray for the safety of all healthcare workers and abortion care providers, for all the doctors and nurses and front office workers. As a community, we fully and we will always support those who seek reproductive justice. We will commit to being part of the response to this devastating ruling. As Jews, we cherish the freedom that this country and this state has given us. We don't take that responsibility lightly. We believe in the freedom to decide about when and how we will build a family. Today's ruling violates our constitutional guarantee to practice our religion and also our freedom from the dictates of other religions. We will not stand idly by. Shabbat is a cathedral in time. May we take in the light of the Shabbat candles this evening and remember to take that light inside and tend the inner fire. The wilderness is real, the wandering difficult and painful, but the reward is great. We will get there. We invite forward the family of our benot mitzvah, Becca and Olivia Jacobson, up to light the Shabbat candles. We are on page 2 in your Siddur. If you're streaming, we welcome you as well.
Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav kivanu lehad likne shel Shabbat.
Don't go anywhere. Hold on. What's going on? We got some wine to sip. So come on over here and we'll sing the words of Kiddush. If you're following along in this Siddur, we are on page 7. Not page 7. We are on page 5. Come on over here and we'll join together with Becca and Olivia. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron lemase vereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu vacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, Mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
L'chaim. Awesome. Mazel tov. Thank you. Mazel tov to Becca and Olivia. How great to have you as the newest teachers of Torah tomorrow morning as we welcome you as adult members of our community. So in biblical times, the place to meet your partner was at the well. It's at a well where Rachel and Jacob first meet. And it's at a well where Moses falls for his wife Zipporah. You see, the well was the hub of social life, the place where the community would come to draw water for their families and flocks. During the slow process of filling up those jugs, there was time to schmooze and to flirt. Think of it like the bar, the laundromat, the first day of college, summer romance, and Tinder all rolled into one. And while as a community we certainly pray that the wells of California become filled with water, today, few of us goes to wells to meet our partners. We meet through friends, or at work, or at parties, or in the case of Rabbi Wattenmaker, as classmates at HUC, or on a plane, or maybe in graduate school. And when the pandemic hit in early 2020, the places that we might normally go shut down even more. Think back to spring of 2020. We weren't going anywhere. No restaurant, no bar, no park, not a hike. Rather, we were sanitizing constantly and wiping down our groceries. So it took even more risk and courage to start dating someone new. Like the couple, Adam and Ashley, we are honoring tonight, whose first date was almost exactly 2 years ago to this day. Is that right? A stroll through a park in San Francisco. And while their wedding isn't until the end of the summer, tonight we take the opportunity to give them a special Beth Am blessing so they can feel the warm embrace and the love of this community. So it's a delight to welcome Ashley and her family to Beth Am. Ashley is joined here in person by her mother Lauren and her Aunt Jody, and Ashley's father Cliff is watching in Connecticut. Is that right? So, in Florida. So, same time zone as Connecticut, so that's okay. It's also a special blessing to congratulate the family of our groom, no strangers to Beth Am. Adam's parents, Jim and Daryl, have been members of Beth Am since 1984, and they have been a part of Beth Am in scores of different ways, many of them behind the scenes, and have been some of the most courageous and generous leaders of the Jewish world, from Artza to Camp Newman to the Union of Reformed Judaism and beyond. And Adam and his brother, Robbie, had their B'nai Mitzvah and confirmations at Beth Am, were part of Batty, and have represented Beth Am in a host of different roles and functions. He might not know this, but in the Batty Lounge right over there, there's still a photo of 11th grade Adam on one of the walls. His hair is just too epic to take down that photo. So it's an honor to invite them along with their parents, as well as Aunt Jody, representing the Florida father, up to the Bima tonight to receive a special blessing. And as they come up, Lauren and Jody, we need you guys as well. So as they come up, a little bit about Ashley and Adam. Ashley and Adam live together in San Francisco. Adam works for Facebook, and Ashley is a CPA at Workday. Adam grew up in Palo Alto and Ashley in Cheshire, Connecticut. They met on J-Swipe, a Jewish dating app, and are getting married in the Berkshires this Labor Day. This is kind of cool. They are actually getting married on the exact day of Jim and Daryl's 39th wedding anniversary, right? Wow. Which also happens to be Aaron and mine 11th wedding anniversary. Good company, right? So that's kind of cool. They love to travel to Hawaii and Austin, Florida, Mexico, and beyond. They enjoy the good company of food and friends. So Adam and Ashley, as you prepare to stand under this chuppah in just about 10 weeks, and pledge yourselves to one another in marriage and share the joy, we share the joy in our heartful blessings. I'm going to ask your parents to come forward and read a special blessing for you together. Gabriel will take one of those corners.
Yes.
To our dear Adam and Ashley, with great excitement and a few tears, we look forward to your wedding, and with a full heart we offer you this prayer. May your love for each other grow deeper with each passing year. May the bonds between you grow stronger. May God bless you with children who will bring you joy as you have brought joy to us. May we come together as family to share many celebrations in the years to come. And may you know that our love and support are with you always.
Amen.
Amen.
And now from the Beth Am community, we offer you a blessing. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu. May the one who blessed our fathers and mothers before you bless you, Ashley and Adam, as you enter into a new stage of your life together. May your joys be many and your sorrows few. And may your love for each other always be a source of strength and comfort. May your home be filled with warmth and laughter and peace. May you and your relationship continue to grow, and may your life together be filled with exciting challenges and new discoveries. May your commitment to Jewish tradition enrich your lives and provide a firm foundation for your marriage and your family. And may your commitment to the Jewish people, and especially to this congregation, always bring you joy, just as you have brought so much joy to this community. Most of all, may you continue to delight in each other and count every day you share as a blessing to you and to all of us who love you. We join together in wishing you a Siman Tov and a Mazel Tov.
Siman
If anybody wants a piece of candy, they should run up here right now and come get it. You can be of any age. You don't have to be related to the rabbi to come get the candy. Speaking of brides, we turn to the singing and the welcoming of the Sabbath bride. We sing the words of Lecha Dodi on page 20. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat Kana Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo b'zachor b'diburecha nishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai yecharu shemo Shem b'tiferet el hilal lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nevchadim ekor averava merosh mikedem nesu chasof ma'aseh v'machshavah hilal. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Itoreri ki ba'oreh umiuri uri shidaberi k'vod Adonai alai tigal. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Holy v'shalom ateret v'ala gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala tochemule am segula. Holy chala, holy chala. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Kana bnei Shabbat nekabela.
The words of the Baruch Hu, our formal call to worship, are on page 28.
Ay, 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 ay.
page 32. Be seated. We chant the words of the V'ahavta on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom halevavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Given the news this morning, we thought we'd lift up some women's voices, both in an alternative to Mi Chamocha, a different song that was sung on the far shore of the parting sea, Miriam's song, written by a pretty prominent female artist, Debbie Friedman. You can find the words on page 342 or 646.
And the women dancing with their was a paper of unique variety, a tapestry she wove on a history. With every strand and every song, she crafted her delight, a woman touched with spirit, great through the night. And the women dancing with their dimples followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing the song, the one whom we've exalted, Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. When Miriam was stood upon the shore and gazed upon the sea, the wonder of this miracle she seemed to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would live to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their cymbals followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing the song, the one whom we've exalted, Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her sonic voice, she sang with praise and might. We're going to live a miracle, and we're going to dance that night. And the women dancing with their cymbals followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing the song, the one whom we've exalted, Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. Woo!
We turn from a song of freedom to a song that is full of hope and asks for protection and peace, that we might wake up to a reality different from and better than the one that we fall asleep in. It's the eternal hope of the Jewish people, really. So we'll offer these words of Hashkivenu on page 42. The English words, I think some of you know. If you know it, sing loud.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Lehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Oh, Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot, shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 44, 162. We reach back through our tradition and hold on to Shabbat. We know that it sustains us from week to week and well into our future. Page 44 or 162, the Shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות אחרית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות אחרית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
On page 46, if you're able, I invite you to rise or lift yourself up however you may. As we begin the Amidah together, this is an opportunity to find words on the pages if you don't have them, or to reach into yourself if you have too many, to enjoy some moments of quiet reflection and prayer. Through page 63, we'll sing the first few blessings together, beginning on page 46. Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
Page 50.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rab lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim berofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
52.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Continue through page 63 to ourselves, and you can take your seats once you've finished your personal prayer.
V'hegyon libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, v'goali. As Rabbi Prosnit mentioned at the beginning of our service tonight, recognize that you are here, each of you, for perhaps different reasons, and perhaps as we turn to our prayer of healing, you're praying for somebody in need of healing of body or spirit. Perhaps
You are praying for yourself. And perhaps it's a bit of a confluence of some of the different purposes that we are each here for. Need for healing, perhaps of somebody that we're thinking of, and a moment where we are in need of greater healing as a community, as a country, as a people. Tonight, as we turn to Misha Berach on page 253, we send our prayers for healing to Ken Adler, Susan Carlson, Abigail Covert, Rabia Ergelin, Leonard Frank, Max Gentry, Selena Glader, Faith Gobody, Sarah Guido, Dorothy Huppert, Moritz Huppert, Marvin Jones, Arnie Kaufman, Harold Muckamal, Sophia Palisban, Donna Perlman, Dr. Mark Proroth, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Peggy Pizzo, Dale Prinstein, Harriet Shane, Steve Shane, Stephen Abraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Matthew Smith, Donna Spanger, Linda Wan, Nicole Gent Wickenheiser, and Katie Wilson. If there are others for whom you are praying tonight, I invite you to share their names. Misha Berach is on page 253. I just want to preface by saying that I wrote much of the sermon that I'm going to give tonight earlier this week, this morning, before that crushing news about the overturning of Roe. Having said that, as I looked at the message of this sermon throughout today, tweaked it a little bit, but I think the message still rings true. Certainly in the days and weeks ahead, there will be more time to focus on specific steps and plans for action, for supporting and caring for each other, for talking about the Jewish values that will animate our work together. Tonight, I want to offer this message about hope. We didn't send just anyone. We sent our best, our brightest, our strongest and bravest and most determined, the best of the best, the hope for the future. We didn't send just anyone. They were the leaders the judges, the chiefs, the most thoughtful, and the most wise. We placed our trust in them, our hope, our faith, our future that awaited us. Our future rested on the shoulders and impressions of these 12 scouts, sent to survey the land that God had promised us. There was so much longing and wonder as they set off on their journey. What would they see? Who might they encounter? What dangers lay ahead? Was all that was promised to us true? We were so close now. Could it be that our journey was almost complete? They were gone for 40 days. And when they returned, they went straight to Moses and Aaron, in front of all of us, gathered there to hear what they had found. This is what they told him. We came to the land you sent us to. It does indeed flow with milk and honey. Phew. However, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the Anakites there. Amalekites dwell in the Negev region. Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites inhabit the hill country. And Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the Jordan. But then Caleb stood up and urged us, "Let us by all means go up, and we shall gain possession of it, for we shall surely overcome it." But again, the others who had gone with him insisted, "We cannot attack that people, for it is stronger than we. The country that we traversed and scouted is one that devours its settlers. All the people that we saw in it are men of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The Anakites are part of the Nephilim, and we looked like grasshoppers to ourselves. And so we must have looked to them." And just like that, a wave of doubt and fear washed over the entire camp. All hope was lost, the future bleak and uncertain. No, not uncertain, impossible. It was all for nothing. All the longing, the countless days traversing the desert, running away from crushing oppression in Egypt, all for what? For this? For certain death that laid ahead? Again, Caleb, now with Joshua, urged a different path forward. If God favors us, God will bring us to this land and give it to us, a land that is flowing with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against God, and you do not fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their shade has turned from them, and God is with us. Do not fear them. Despite Caleb and Joshua's pleading, despite their careful encouragement and their message of hope and commitment to faith, they could not change the minds of the Israelites. They admitted the road ahead was difficult, dangerous, but not impossible with faith in God. The other 10 scouts had spoken. The task was too great, the battle ahead too dangerous. Even the land devoured its inhabitants. And with that, the Israelites seemed to give up. They abandoned hope and cried out in fear, crying out that they would have rather died in Egypt. On hearing this dissolution of faith, Moses and Aaron fell on their faces in front of the gathered assembly in a gesture of submission to a greater power, or according to biblical scholar Robert Alter, a desperate attempt by these two leaders to plead with the people not to undertake the disastrous course that they had just threatened. But it's no use. The 10 scouts, representatives of their tribes, had made up their minds, and so too had the Israelites. God, too, appears wounded by the Israelites' lack of faith. God admits to Moses a desire to completely wipe them out for this sin, leaving only Moses alive. Moses pleads with God not to act on this threat of complete destruction. He appeals to God's compassion and mercy, which seems to work. God agrees to not destroy the Israelites, but as a punishment for the people's rebellion and for siding with the 10 scouts and doubting the path ahead, God condemns this generation to die in the wilderness, never to enter the promised land. This generation will be doomed to wander for 40 years, and Caleb and Joshua will be the only two from this generation to enter the land. Instead, it will be the responsibility of the next generation, the generation born in the wilderness, who never knew slavery, who will take the promised land. Last week during Torah study, as we were discussing an earlier instance of the Israelites complaining and their yearning for the way things were back in Egypt, someone raised an interesting question about this punishment the Israelites receive after this report of the scouts. Why was this the reason that the Israelites are doomed to wander through the desert? What is different about this moment compared to the other incidents of the golden calf or complaining about water or food at other moments along their journey? As I read through this portion, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the Israelites' greatest sin here is that they abandoned hope. Bible scholar Aviva Zorenberg points out that the Israelites had no faith, despite God's many assurances that the land was good and would be theirs. Earlier in the narrative, when the wells dried up after Miriam's death, the people were fearful and called to God from a place of uncertainty. When they feared that Moses had abandoned them, they built a golden calf, mainly as a familiar way to engage with God and pray for Moses' return. When they grew tired of the manna God provided each morning, and the Israelites lusted for unlikely memories of eating fish and meat and cucumbers in Egypt, they complained from a place of internalized trauma. But here, on the border of the Promised Land, they refused to accept the possibility of hope, to imagine the glimmer of success, and they gave up. Hope, as it turns out, is one of the most foundational elements we have in Jewish tradition. The ability to hope in the midst of terrible tragedy has sustained our people for millennia. Indeed, there is something fundamental not just to our Judaism, but to our very humanity about hope. Historian Yuval Harari, in his book *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind*, argues that one of the distinguishing features that moved the evolution of early Homo sapiens forward was their unique ability to imagine and articulate a vision of a world that could be drastically different from reality. It creates the possibility of beginning to work together towards bringing that vision about. It's important to note that hope is not just a passive stance. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, explaining the difference between hope and optimism, writes, "Optimism and hope sound similar, but they are quite different. Optimism is the belief that things will get better. Hope is the belief that if we work hard enough, we can make things better. Between them lies all the difference in the world. Optimism is a passive virtue, hope an active one. It needs no courage, only a certain naivete to be an optimist. It needs a great deal of courage to have hope. The prophets of Israel were not optimists. When everyone else felt secure, they saw the coming catastrophe, but every one of them was an agent of hope. Jews were a people of hope. By discovering the God who created the universe in love, they became the first practitioners of hope. No Jew who knows his or her history can be an optimist. We have seen too many great civilizations, ancient Egypt, the Roman Empire, medieval Spain, and pre-war Germany, lapse into barbarism and murderous hate. You don't need to be an optimist to have hope. Religious faith, says Sachs, is not a positive thinking. It is not naive optimism. It is not a matter of seeing the world as we would like it to be and then believing that mere wishing or praying will make it so. God never promised that the world would get better of its own accord. Faith, says Rabbi Sachs, means seeing the world exactly as it is, and yet not giving up the belief that it could be otherwise, if we are ready to act with others to make it so. Faith is realism that has been touched by hope, and hope has the power to transform the world. In other words, we are the descendants of Joshua and Caleb. We are a people who cling to hope, even when the path forward may be the most difficult we will ever travel. The words of Rabbi Tarfon from Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, from over 2 millennia ago, echo a similar sentiment, linking hope and action. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to walk away from it entirely. We are required to engage, to put hope and faith into action, and to do whatever work we must to bring healing into our world. Certainly, today of all days, we find ourselves grasping at how to move forward. Throughout Jewish tradition, the idea of hope is often embodied by the symbol of the Ayelet HaShachar, literally the doe of the morning, but an idiom for dawn. It makes sense. Dawn is a moment of both deep darkness and the slow, almost unnoticeable coming on of light, breaking through that darkness. There is a fragility in this liminal in-between moment. It can be full of insecurity and uncertainty. But if we hold on to hope, if we remain faithful in the sun a little longer, light always breaks through. Israeli poet Amir Or captures this in his poem, 7 Lines for Sunrise. He writes, "And even so life, and even so love. We will yet see the gateway of the heart. We will open up to a world of hope. We will tread again its paths, astonished by its beauty, our spirits clear and tranquil. We will yet see the morning rise. The dawn of humanity draws near." We are the descendants of Joshua and Caleb. We are not naive optimists who expect the world to change without us, nor will we be discouraged by the hard work that lies ahead. We hold on to a hope that inspires us into action. Despite the darkness in the world and in our country right now, the light of hope still remains. We cannot let go of that light of hope. So let's get to work. Continue, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach, it is upon us. If you are able, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו be seated as we turn to our prayer of memory. For these words by my teacher and friend, Rabbi Richard Levy, whose yahrzeit falls this week, page 291. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were, in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. And affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. As I read the name of your loved one or friend, I invite you to rise in their honor and remain standing. This week we are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, for Christopher Mateo, Jeffrey Wishko, Jerry Shapiro, Coleman Sachs, Samuel Jacob Klein, and Barbara Bunny Ratner. This Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death, for Philip Adelberg, Audrey Adler, Rita Togliatti Angelino, Daniel Bine, Philip Bennett, Ted Benetti, Deborah Karen Bosch, Louise Bosenberg, Joseph Dayan, Joe Daubert, Lillian Dubinsky, Rabel Dragul Braverman Emden, Muriel Frankel, Helene Fried, Judy Gold, Judith Judy Goldberg, Jack Gordon, Joan Barbara Green, Sherry Greenberg, Millicent Hagewood, Queenie Havers, Jim Hale, Ruth Hirsch, Jules Kahn, Herb Kahn Jr., Minnie Kaplan, Sophie Kuman Davidoff, Leonard Coppett, Paulina Kruti, Haya Lapidou, Jocelyn Sherry Levine, Dorothea Levy, Rabbi Richard Levy, Stanley Levy, Jeanette Lipton, Francis Sue Liss, Joseph Loeb, Francis Martyr, George Malenko, Erwin Middleman, Virginia Mitz, Alan Moss, Stephen Mullins, Chris Meyer Otto, Devosia Pevsner, Samuel Harold Radin, Lilia Ramrus, Robert Bruce Rayner, George Rosencrans, Leah Reutman, Martin Schwartz, Florence Selak, Louis Schenkman, Harold Schechter, Sheldon Saffer, Daniel Stern, Anthony Stirp, Milton Stromberg, David Tuchinski, Hannah Unger, Ruth Unterman, Lorraine Waldman, Brian Warshaw Vickery, Paul Wasserstein, and Phil Weinberg. If there's someone whose name I haven't mentioned, who you're remembering, I invite you to rise and share their name. We rise as a community of strength and support. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always be a source of blessing. As we turn to words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. A reminder before you head out tonight that our tzedakah box is right at the back of our space here. This month, our tzedakah funds are going towards a wonderful local organization, the Second Harvest Food Bank. Second Harvest is our area's largest food bank and is committed to fighting hunger in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. Second Harvest of Silicon Valley works with a variety of groups at the local, state, and federal level to ensure that anyone who needs a healthy meal can get one. We encourage you to give generously, and if you want, you can donate online on our website or through Venmo. Our handle is at Beth-Am. encourage you to give generously. We will close our service with that prayer for peace. Oseh Shalom. Oh, and there's an Orchard Shabbat dinner. If you're here for the Orchard Shabbat dinner, it is down in the BK patio, Beit Kehila patio.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.